players and the decks. All right, Monty, who do you think will be our first finalist?
I'm going to have to go with the numbers. I'm going to pick Yuchen Liu as Gruul Mice. I think he has the momentum to get things done. In his last Pro Tour top 8, he fell in the quarterfinals. Already got him past that point now. I think he has what it takes to go all the way in this top 8.
All right, the mice are nice with Monty. What about you, Riley?
Well, Monty's going with the numbers, and I'm going with whatever Monty doesn't say. So I'm picking, I'm picking James on domain. Let's go.
All right, Riley continues to be a contrarian here at the News Desk. Let's find out what happens. It's time to get our first finalist here at the Pro Tour. I'm going to send it on over to the desk.
Yeah, thank you, Mira. Welcome back to the booth here at Pro Tour Ether Revolt. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon, and we've got our first semifinal match loaded up. A lot of pressure on Liu Yuchen here. The only deck left of this type.
Yeah, he is the only hope for anybody not a fan of the Domain Overlords archetype, as there are 3 in the top 4. Liu Yuchen, the only person here on Gruul Mice, and well, according to Monty, still the favorite to win it all, based on the slight edge that this deck seemingly has against Domain Overlords, but not a big edge. We've already seen 2 Domain decks overcome and defeat red aggro decks in this top 8.
Been really impressed with Liu Yuchen's play, not just this weekend, but basically anytime we've had him on camera.
Yeah, and a bit of a bumpy ride, right, on his journey to the top 8. Had an incredible start at 10-1, then went 10-2, lost a couple of win-and-ends, and then finally squeaked in at 12-4 in the final round here. A lot of his losses, though, were to Esper Pixie variants, and now this is the matchup that he wanted to play when he submitted Gruul Mice for this tournament.
He's got a Paw Patch Recruit on turn 1. We see the up the beanstalk there for James Dimitrov on turn 2.
The Paw Patch Recruit, not a mouse,
Yeah, it will
a rabbit.
It will not benefit here from the Manifold Mouse.
Remember, James Dimitrov's list does not play the 3 copies of Temporary Lockdown, which we saw Matt Nass use, which was very, very effective against his matchup against Mono Red. So doesn't have a clean answer to the board here, at least on turn 3. But now, James does have access to lots of mana, so plenty of sweepers available. Liu Yuchen needs to get in for a ton of damage here. Could also be one of those instances where you can't play around a sweeper and you just play everything.
And that looks like it's going to be the case here.
11.
We see the Screaming Nemesis crash in. Down to 11 goes James. This is a big turn.
Yep. Zur would do it.
And Sunfall's not too bad either. It's even a little better, drawing an extra card off of Up the Beanstalk. And getting that Incubator token with 3 counters on it. Meanwhile, the Overlord continues to tick down. It felt like Liu Yuchen needed to do a ton of damage that turn. Did a bit,
More
and
hasters.
it felt like James needed to sweep the board, but he did.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just kind of the power of going first in this matchup. So huge. James Dimitrov with going into the top 8, 1 rank above Yuchen Liu here, allowing him to be on the play. He would be basically close to dead. Ooh, but very, very nice. We talked about this previously in the quarterfinals, how this could be very, very important. Attacking with Screaming Nemesis, then casting Torch the Tower on the Nemesis. There is now, what do we want to call it? A Screaming Nemesis emblem, more or less. But
like an emblem, yeah.
Like an emblem. And basically what this means is James can no longer gain life for the rest of this game, which is big because what we've seen a lot of these Domain Overlords decks do is stabilize with Zur into activate your Leyline Binding or your Overlords, but James no longer has that as an option, simply just needs to keep his life total high and totally stabilize the board and win that way. Could be a Zur.
So much less potent now, though.
Right.
So Surveil land surveils another one into the graveyard.
It does have a Leyline Binding here, because you really don't ever want to block Screaming Nemesis. You're just going to take a bunch of damage anyways.
That is Zur.
And did the Impending already tick down there? Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
Got it. We got it.
Yep.
I guess Zur is the profitable block on the Nemesis.
Yeah, you just take one
Just the
damage.
one.
Yeah.
The first time you don't want to because of the emblem effect that we talked about, but that's already there.
Yeah, but now that we have the emblem effect, and looks like Liu's got 3 lands in hand. So not a great spot to be here. Only option really to attack. Now, we do have the Leyline Binding, of course. So draw the card here. So this is tough here.
This is slipping away from Liu Yuchen. And really, it's been up the beanstalk.
Absolutely.
It's fueled James Dimitrov's hand.
And now James can just try to end things very, very quickly here. He can potentially attack for 9 this turn. No, even more with the Leyline Binding. And just kind of put Liu on a 2-turn clock here, if he chooses.
And he is incentivized to get fairly aggressive here, right? Like, you don't want to wait around at 6 life, not knowing what Liu Yuchen has in hand to find, you know, end step burst lightning you. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and look at this. Getting in for 11 damage here.
That's 2-turn clock
And
with a blocker back.
Yeah,
Two blockers
and I
back,
don't think
sorry.
Liu has a top deck here with James at 6 life here that can get him out of this.
That's a torch the tower off the top, and that's not going to do it. Game number 1 goes to James Dimitrov, taking advantage of being on the play and a little bit of a floody draw there from Liu Yuchen.
We have seen a lot of the red decks kind of seemingly flood out.
They fall apart when they do. It's
yeah.
tough. Oh. Those are 2 cards going to the bottom?
Oh, jeez.
So on the play here for Liu Yuchen,
yeah, well,
but on 5?
right, in a turn 1 rock face village, it looks like a sanctuary in hand as well. So no true red source, but all creatures in hand here for Liu Yuchen.
Dimitrov is going to start developing his mana here.
Yeah, and when you mulligan like this, you just have no other option than to just play all of your creatures and just hope James doesn't have the sweeper in time here.
Yeah, a pair of hired claws here.
It's a big hit, though, from the 1-drop, right? You are taking 3 damage this turn.
Yeah, both trigger. Not enough mana to put a counter, but it's
Right.
fine. Another tap land.
We got a Screaming Nemesis here as well.
Okay, I mean, this is about as much damage as you can pile on. And remember, we're still in a game 1 scenario as far as sideboards go.
Wait,
There's
that's-
another Nemesis.
That's another Nemesis. And remember, like I said before, James doesn't have access to temporary lockdown here. This is a hit for 7.
Down to 10 is James Dimitrov. You better do something here.
Needs at least the ride's end here on the Screaming Nemesis. And even if he does, he takes 4 from the Hired Claws, and another Screaming Nemesis is coming down, which means he's going to be at 3 life.
Would Pest Control...
Pest Control would kill the Hired Claws.
Yeah.
Yuchen would still follow that up with the second Screaming Nemesis and still put James down to 4. So if he goes Pest Control, land into Day of Judgment,
Okay.
right, but he's going to need kind of a lot of things to go right here because Screaming Nemesis, the last thing you want to do against this card is block. You just kind of want to use removal spells if you can.
Let's see what Dimitrov has.
Yeah,
This is a situation where up the beanstalk's just not going to do it.
Split up, he does have that. Oh, it doesn't have it though. Split up
He
would
has
have been incredible.
one split up in the main.
Yeah.
Okay, we're Overlord of the Haunt.
This is
maybe
lethal.
to set up a sweeper.
This
3,
is
6,
lethal.
7, 8, 9, 10, and that's game
Oh, man.
on a mulligan to 5 from Liu Yuchen. And he wins on turn 4, turn 5?
Yeah, that was a turn 4 win on the play on a mulligan to 5.
Whew. He's going to have to be relieved there. And it looks like both players are starting on 6 cards here for our game 3. Now, I will remind you, sideboards are in play now.
Sideboards are in play. Liu Yuchen with 2 copies of the powerful Sunspine Lynx. Possibly even the Screaming Nemesis here out of the sideboard here. But James also has a lot of nice options in the sideboard for this matchup. There's an Authority of the Consuls, along with multiple copies of Obstinate Baloth and another Pest Control and a Beza in the sideboard.
You see Heartfire Hero for Liu Yuchen.
Elspeth Smite.
Elspeth Smite to take it down. And the rebuild is another Heartfire Hero. Go.
I'm very curious what the play win rates are in this matchup. It seems huge, like 65+%, something along those lines.
It does. You have that visceral feeling.
Yeah.
Because the difference on one turn, you know, from Gruel Mice is like 8 damage or something.
Exactly.
And the difference in the other direction is like a sweeper.
Right.
Like all of your
Absolutely.
stuff's dead. It's like massive swings back and forth there.
Yeah, I mean, James is currently at 20 life here, and James can untap and have access to 5 mana potentially.
Yeah, Overlord of the Haunt Woods on impending there for James.
Azure here would be great if James does have the ability to play it and turn on Overlord of the Hauntwoods. That's just an attack for 5. Get a land, gain some life. And if you're passing with 5 mana, you have to think James at least has a Ride's End here.
At least. And that would be nice. Innkeeper's Talent is a pretty cool card, but if you only have one threat, you're kind of eggs basket wanting a little bit. Let's see what Liu Yuchen has for this turn.
Yeah, I think I saw Beza in James's hand, choosing
Okay.
not to run it out just yet.
I see 2 Monstrous Rage in hand for Liu Yuchen.
Okay, trigger on the stack, get lost,
Get
because you don't want
lost.
it to grow, right? Because it'll die. And if you let the trigger resolve, then all of a sudden you're taking 2 extra points of damage here. Now, I wonder if Lou's thinking, should I Monstrous
Piling up?
Rage just as Lightning Bolts? Like, do I just cast Monstrous Rage on my creature just so you take a bunch of extra damage? I mean, on the draw, you probably have to play things very, very differently. I could see that potentially. It's actually 4 extra damage because you get the Valiant trigger. Oh, no, the Valiant trigger is already on the stack.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll respond.
Burn spell?
Monstrous Rage your face?
Power and dice.
So James takes 6.
You take 6.
He kind of split
All
the
right.
difference by using one of those
And-
Monstrous Rages.
Yeah, can only cast the 1,
Oh,
as the Rockface Village is for creatures.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Well, he's got a game plan, but doesn't have
And
a
you
creature
can see
there.
why there's no creature.
Yeah. James can go back up to 15 with a blocker in the Beza. And still has that Overlord that's going to be live next turn.
There's Beza for 4 life.
So you can
And I assume not a card?
draw a card.
Oh, and draw a card.
Wow.
Draw. Pass.
Beza's nice.
Beza's extremely strong. That's one of the best cards we've seen against aggressive strategies. So 4 mana available now for Liu.
Really needs a threat.
Yeah, there's a couple of creature lands in play, but they both require 4 mana. Oh,
Is
and
that the
that's-
Lynx?
That is, in fact, the Lynx. A little awkward on the timing, and also Liu's taking a bunch of damage off of this as well.
Yeah.
He's taking 4, but
Wait, he's
James-
taking the full amount.
he's taking the full amount, but James is taking
Either
5, it
16 out of
seems.
10.
2, 3, 4, 5.
There's
yeah.
a plains there.
Right.
Yeah, but now James needs to find an answer here to the Lynx just so that if he wants to gain life, and he already has it here in the
Wow,
in
that
the
didn't
binding.
take long.
It did not, and
James
this
slams it.
this Overlord's deck can just turn things around so quickly.
And speaking of turning it around, Beza in the red zone
Overlord active.
and Overlord's live.
Now, I believe Liu had a paw patch formation. You can use that to, you can actually use that to kill the Leyline Binding if you want.
Uh-huh.
Not quite enough for the kill, and you're also taking a bunch of damage
And then
yourself.
you might die to your
But
own land.
it's yeah, but you can also consider playing that out because the Innkeeper's Talent would then have a target, and if you turn it into a 6/5, and then you use your map tokens, you can actually if you have
Oh.
something on top, you can potentially make it bigger than either of the creatures that are in play.
Have yourself a little blocker.
Yeah, you can even potentially make it into an 8/7, which
Whoa.
would be the biggest thing in play. But this assumes that there's a spell on top of Liu's deck. Going for Challenger here instead. This would turn it into a 3-3 with the Innkeeper's Talent trigger.
He's going to target the Emberheart Challenger.
See if he hits something nice. Ooh, Screaming Nemesis. Now here's the question: do you kill the Overlord, get in for 4, or do you go for the Leyline Binding? Killing the Overlord does seem pretty nice.
It does.
And then that might halt James, and it might prevent him from actually attacking with the Beza next turn if he's out of action.
Yeah, because the weird thing that Liu Yuchen has to deal with is he also doesn't want to die.
Right.
Right, get a removal spell plus those 2 big creatures crashing over. But it does look like he's going to opt to try to get his links back here.
Right, because if James attacks with both, and then you kill the Leyline Binding,
he's going to attack just with the Overlord.
this is 7 damage.
Oh,
James is
yeah.
going to take 7 now because the Overlord attacks.
It's not a May.
It's going to put him down to 3. And then maybe you just trade the Sunspine Links with the Overlord, right? Because you're going to take 4 yourself.
Right.
You could also potentially just take 6 and go to 2.
You could.
That gives you 2 attackers. And I think he
And
has a
then, like,
monstrous
any
rage.
combat-
And he
Yeah,
has a monstrous rage in hand.
I think I saw one way back on the opening hand. There's still 2 cards in hand, though, for Dimitrov.
Of course.
And a lot of mana available.
Yeah, and he's taking it.
He took it!
He's setting up for the end of turn here. Oh, that.
He needs to respond to this?
I think you want to respond if you don't want your opponent to gain life, right? Because, oh no, it'll be in play, so you won't be able to actually gain the life.
Okay, so it's all
Right.
fine.
So James is going to go down to 3 here.
He's
Lou's
down
going
to
down to
3.
2. What is James's last card? If it's a removal spell, he's still in it. But remember,
I think it's a Day of Judgment.
that's not going to be good enough here. We have Innkeeper's Talent trigger as well and a Monstrous Rage.
And Monstrous Rage
Also,
in
you just
hand.
attack with both. That's just lethal.
It is, as it sits.
Wow.
He also has the land there, which is also a lethal threat.
That Lynx is just so insane.
I mean, 2 triggers off of it, because remember, James gained off of Beza this game, too.
Right.
This is also the game that Yuchen decided to use Monstrous Rage as a lightning bolt.
Right, and it's paying off here. James is
Huge.
now basically just representing a complete lethal attack here. Now Yuchen's just wondering, look, if I just attack with 3 creatures, is there any shot James can come back?
They're all lethal.
Right. So 1 removal spell won't do it, and he only has 1 card in hand.
Right.
Right? If you have, this just forces
Yeah, I mean,
attack with everything.
yeah, there's no up the beanstalk to curve things into things. And James Dimitrov's going to pick up his cards because Liu Yuchen found the line. Wow, what a win.
Wow.
That was a really nice line to find there from Liu Yuchen. He picks up the 3rd game, so he's up 2 games to 1 in our semifinal. Remember, the winner of this match, that's Liu Yuchen if it's this game, or if James can win the next 2, will be in the finals.
Right. And this is, of course, the upside of playing Gruul over something like Mono Red, right? You have some additional flexibility in your sideboard. That disenchant effect from the Paw Patch formation, extremely important, and a type of card that Mono Red just doesn't have access to.
Super clutch that game. So it did 12, the links?
It did
7
5.
and
It did 5 and 7, 12, and
then
it was
attack.
also attacking.
Yeah.
Too, so
Wow, that was impressive.
Smite, Ride's End. Oh, nothing.
Emberheart Challenger just going to get in. Interesting.
Huntwoods.
The classic.
Yep.
Now, I keep going back to when Liu Yuchen used that monstrous rage.
Yeah.
on a creature that was on its way to die anyway.
Yeah, no, those super heads-up play there, no other creatures in hand, recognizing that it's really unlikely that you're going to be able to get maximum value from both of the Monstrous Rages, so just firing one off there just to get enough damage through, recognizing, look, I'm on the draw, like I just need to find some way to get you low and kind of hope that the Sunspine Lynx gets me there. That's exactly what happened.
And it was clutch because, you know, he did not have lethal through a removal spell there if he hadn't have done that. Now, as it turns out, he would have finished the game either way.
Yeah.
But that would, that would have given him the chance to even have James have drawn a removal spell and him to still be able to get the job done.
Oh, this might be a main phase Monstrous Rage, maybe hoping to try to hit a land here. It's a lot of damage, Manifold Mouse, but does Liu have a red source to run out the Manifold Mouse? Because that would be extremely powerful. Okay,
Yes.
and he does hit it, so this is an attack for 12?
I will become double strike, so take more silence. Yeah, take 6/6, check 12.
Yeah, 6/6 times 2, that's 12.
Wow. This is on turn 3.
Wow,
This-
slamming.
Yeah, this mouse package is unbelievable. Now, James does have a Beza, I believe. That's going to put him up to 10 with 2 tokens in play, but has access to the 1 mana as well. It's really important here, though, because that Emberheart Challenger is going to have Trample and First Strike here. If James has something like a Leyline Binding, that massively increases his odds of being able to stabilize after playing this Beza.
Liu has the Lynx in hand.
Oh, that's 5 damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, and James has had the Overlord at turn 3, but he hasn't had the follow-up of being able to go Zur into Animate.
Hasn't been part of this match.
Right.
We saw Zur in game 1, but it wasn't even that important. This has been a missing piece.
Right.
Because Liu Yuchen, if he gets to just do this and only has to deal with removal and sweepers, then his chances are very good.
Right. Okay.
Oh boy, he's flooding the board now.
Want to begin my combat? Yep. So these 2 triggers targeting this and this trigger both, and I will resolve this first, and this trigger.
See what you hit.
And
Okay, you're gonna play land for
resolving
turn.
this becomes first double strike, and this is also double strike.
But the
So
Heartfire
this
Hero, of
raise
course,
rate.
doesn't have haste.
Right.
So if you give it double strike, it would trade with the Beza.
Yeah. Okay. Trample 1.
It does have trample.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monstrous Rage.
Right?
Get the 9.
Yep.
Hey, every single point counts in these
Absolutely.
situations. Down to 9 goes James Dimitrov.
Land for turn. Solid board. But James is going to breathe a sigh of relief if he can untap here.
Yeah, this is a nicely sweepable board too.
Doing Elspeth Smite and Ride's End here. So if James gets to untap, he's going to feel much, much better about his situation here.
So he'll replace Beza and then have up a 1 mana removal spell at the minimum.
At the very minimum, yes.
Yeah, that does sound really good. Go up to 13, get 2 more fish.
Well, if he plays the Beza, I think they're both going to be even on creatures.
Oh,
but
you're right.
if Liu plays a 4th creature,
And get 2 more
now,
fish.
now Beza gets you 2 fish. This
Liu,
is so.
Liu
This
bailed
is
me out.
yeah, near max value Bezas here, gaining another 4 life with 2 more fish here,
But no
and
card
it's-
this time, right?
and it still kind of feels close, which is crazy.
It does.
19.
Ooh. Surveil to the top.
All right,
1 more turn until the Overlord's here.
Liu's got access to lots of mana now, but James, remember, does have that Elspeth Smite in hand here, which is going to make things very, very tricky here to navigate.
Yeah, Liu Yuchen will approach this turn as if there is a hard removal spell for whatever James chooses.
Yeah, Leyline Binding, Elspeth Smite, those are the 2 cards that Liu is going to be concerned about here. Now the Heartfire Hero that has a counter on it, that's a reasonably safe attack, right? You target that one, give it double strike, and that becomes a 3-3 with double strike. So if Beza gets in front of that, that'll be a clean trade, and you'll be able to deal 3 points of damage to James with it dying. Now remember, the one card we know for sure Liu has in hand is the Lynx, which would deal, I'm just gonna, what is this, six damage?
6 right now.
So that is a lot. Like, if the Heartfire Hero dies, that's also 3 damage. So then you have to think, what happens if I just attack with the other Heartfire Hero too, right? And do you want to give that one trample maybe? And just be happy to trade that with a pair of fish, just because then it's gonna die, and you're gonna be able to guarantee at least 5 damage going through with the Heartfire Heroes.
5 down to 8 with 6 in your hand of damage is starting to look pretty good.
Also, if Liu has maybe land number 5, you have the land here, which you can use to also pump one of the Heartfire Heroes. And then maybe you just wait for the Lynx for the next turn and just hope that James doesn't play Azure or something to gain all the life back.
Trigger targeting these 2.
Could just give trample to both.
And resolving
So they each pick up a counter from Valiant, but he does have a choice to make.
Yeah, if the 2-2 attacks, double strike doesn't really make too much sense, just because you can put the Beza in front of that as a relatively clean trade. But of course, we don't know what Liu's holding here. If there's like a monstrous rage or something, that would be huge. But remember, James also has that Elspeth Smite. If he times it well, and Liu doesn't have some way to kind of blow him out on the exchange, that'll be very, very good for him.
double strike, double strike.
Double strike, double strike. But he's just going to attack with the 1.
Damage.
Beza,
Trade, 3 damage.
and you take 3. You're down to 10.
Is it time to just slam the Lynx here just to prevent Zur shenanigans? Right, you just run that out, get James down to...
It's tempting.
Get James down to 4.
And have the Lynx in play.
And then you have the Heartfire Hero, which you can get close to just killing your opponent,
He
right?
is going to play the Lynx. Sunspire Lynx hits.
Negative 4, I think 17.
Liu does take a bit of damage off it as well, but more critically, James Dimitrov.
Oh, that's an extra point of damage.
An unblockable, we'll call it, point of damage.
Yeah, so now James has Ride's End, but the Sunspire Lynx has already dealt its damage, right?
Yes.
James doesn't have any way to gain life, so you almost want to use the Ride's End on the Heartfire Hero,
right?
Because you need to use kind of that exile ability there.
Right.
You also do have Elspeth Smite, which you can also use as an exile effect.
Yeah, there's also these fish that can chump block.
Right.
There's also, you know, Elspeth Smite plus fish on a Sunspire Lynx would be a thing.
And remember, Overlord also gets turned on here.
Right.
So
and
lots of good
be there.
Right. So lots of good blockers here for James, but Liu's got a lot of live draws here. Another Lynx. He's only got the 2, but another Lynx certainly would do it. A well-timed Monstrous Rage could do it. And that's a Zur, but...
There's a Zur, but we have a problem.
Exactly.
That Sunspire Lynx.
The Lynx is in play here, so no life gain.
It would allow you to attack, but is that even beneficial?
I don't even think you attack.
You're going to get it anyway, and he doesn't somehow have any other enchantments laying around.
Yeah, I just don't think you're in a position to just use a bunch of removal.
So we're just going for the 1/4 blocker.
Yeah, just passing. Okay. Still has access to Ride's End here.
Also, with an answer to the Lynx, now Zur could be a big deal.
Right. So then, if you're Liu, maybe you just don't attack.
Right.
Right. Don't attack with the Lynx. Is there some other avenue to victory? Now, the one thing that's very obvious here is just pump up your Heartfire Hero. Right. Give it double strike, or just give it trample. Actually, you don't even want it. You want it to die.
Both. Yeah.
And that turns it into a 3/3. You attack with a Hired Claw. So theoretically, that is a lethal attack, right? Because that gets James down to 3 from the Lizard trigger, plus the 3 if the hero dies. But you also have to think James probably has Ride's End here, Leyline Binding, Elspeth Smite, all kinds of things that could work.
Smite does work, right? Is the creature too big?
Smite deals 3 damage. That would also work on the Heartfire hero.
And it exiles?
Begin my combat.
Oh,
Let's target.
creature land live here for Liu Yuchen.
So trample double strike, maybe? That would turn it into a 5-powered
Trigger,
creature.
Double strike and trample. Yeah, attack.
This is like a big attack incoming here, Paul. Uh-oh.
If you,
He's getting ready to fire off all of it.
yeah, but here's the thing.
With both trigger targeting this and you want to use.
So he has to use
And this.
he has to use a removal spell on the Heartfire hero, right?
Oh, I see.
He has to use that one. So
And
it's
it
about
needs to get exiled,
So you
too.
can just smite that one. So that's big. And now you just kind of block everything else. Nothing tramples, right?
Oh, and he had both of
Wait,
them.
and he has a Ride's End in hand. Holy cow. Okay, so that's being exiled here, though.
This feels like the game swinging right back in James Dimitrov's direction because he gets to untap here with Zur and Overlord.
Right, and you can
And
just
there's no more links.
Right, and then you can activate the Overlord plus the Leyline Binding.
Right.
Wow, Leyline Binding, allowing you to cast
Binding.
2 spells.
Unbelievable binding there.
I was under the impression he could only cast one removal effect.
I mean, and he's gaining life off of this block, right?
Right.
So he's back up to 8 now.
And he can attack for
How much is it? It's
14.
12, 15?
Leyline Binding is 6, 11, 12, 13, 14.
14.
And gaining 11 life. Oh,
Yikes.
Lou was so close,
That
but
was
James,
so close, but James Dimitrov had 2 answers.
yeah, 2 removal spells there. Basically, Lou attacked in such a way where he was like, look, if you have the 1 removal spell, I think I got you. But if you have 2 1-mana removal spells, so be it.
So be it. And that would be admittedly very difficult to beat otherwise.
But the big thing here, the big thing here is Lou is now on the play. He was able to break serve. That was huge. We're now in the final game here. Gruul Mice on the play, very big.
Both players with 7 cards to start off our Game 5 decider in our first semifinal. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're happy to have you along. We've got another semifinal coming up after this, and then, of course, the finals. One of these players will be in the finals. The question is it Liu Yuchen or James Dimitrov? They took very different approaches to this standard format.
He plays swamp and says he puts back and it's okay.
Didn't take an action.
It's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, James had sort of mostly put a swamp on the battlefield, but it was just an accident, so he picked it up.
Yeah, and then he said, you know what, I want the
speaking,
Cavern of Souls here.
Yeah, normally you can do that. I mean, if you tap it for mana, you might have a problem.
Right. That is good sign if you're Lou, just given that usually you kind of want to wait on the Cavern of Souls and you want to run out your green sources if you have them.
And
So
tap lands.
that could be a sign that maybe James has another Cavern of Souls or is just looking for a green source if he has something like in Overlord of the Huntwoods here.
And another thing is James accidentally showed him a swamp.
Right. Oh, main phase here.
Oh, going for it.
Now, James does have a Ride's End.
But it only hits tapped creatures on that discount, so that's why Liu Yuchen did this right now.
Yeah, but big heads up play doing it before attacks because James has multiple ways to punish you for attacking.
Right, tap creatures.
Right.
And we will see one of them here. Oh, he also has Day of Judgment.
Damage.
Well, he says no blocks, and Liu
Okay.
Yuchen says I'll pass priority
Why would Lou do anything here?
Right.
Is he trying to get him to do something else?
Maybe he thinks he'll get crazy and go for another Monstrous
I
Rage or something.
guess.
And it is going to be rides into exile. But higher Claw on top, or exiled there, will come in. Is there anything else from Liu Yuchen?
That might be it.
Go ahead.
So big, having that Ride's End prevented 6 damage from coming in there.
And we need your result. Please double check before we go.
Can James find a big player? No second green source. He's had Overlord of the Hunt with turn 3 nearly every game. Doesn't have it here, but remember, this Overlord's deck can just play the role of the control deck. You just have a ton of removal after sideboard in this particular matchup with all the Elspeth Smites, the Ride's Ends, Day of Judgment, Split Up, just a ton of ways to handle what Liu Yuchen can have, and then also multiple Bezas out of the sideboard. We've got a Questing Druid there as well.
Combat. Yep. Trigger. Yep.
Another Emberheart Challenger is
17
going to
first.
crash in with the Hired Claw.
Yes, this is 4 damage coming in. I don't know that he's going to pump here just because there's a good chance James has a sweeper. So I think you want to sacrifice the 1 damage and just pass. If James fires off a Day of Judgment, you let that happen, and then you go end of turn Questing Druid.
Okay. And here it is. Yep, that's Day of Judgment. So bye-bye board state, but as you mentioned, Paul, Liu Yuchen has a backup plan here.
Going to want to find some action here off the Questing Druid. That's probably one of the worst tooth cards you can reveal, unless you have a haste creature in hand, right?
Right.
That would certainly help. So you can play a land, maybe a haste creature, and go Monstrous Rage.
His hand is 2 lands and a Burst Lightning.
Oh, that is brutal. Can't give that one haste with the land, but you can still play it out and cast Monstrous Rage on it.
To get the roll.
Yeah. So that gets a +1/+1 counter and a roll token. So it is a 3/3, but that was very, very suboptimal cards to reveal off that Questing Druid here. James access to 5 mana next turn and add a healthy 14 life just facing off against the 3/3 Questing Druid.
Ooh, did you see that from James?
What was that?
Let's see what he's got here.
Oh,
The good old-fashioned way.
Just a hard cast Overlord of the Haunwood, 6/5. Oh, it's not hard cast. Why is there impending counters on?
He did hard cast it, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
What am I missing here?
I think the judge is like, you don't need the dice.
Well, you paid 2 mana for something. Oh,
Okay, so
he accidentally tapped those.
I see. So he impended it and probably has some kind of removal spell here.
Definitely representing it.
Yeah. But he did. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, James is looking for something. When he drew his card, you know how you put it on the table? He gave it the little shake.
Right.
You know, the come on, give me a something.
Yeah, it makes sense to not play it here, though, right? He's got to get lost in hand.
Yeah.
You want to fire that off on the Questing Druid here if you can. Playing it would just make very little sense here, given it, because the blowout situation is Lugo's Paw Patch formation, kill your Overlord. You have nothing to be able to deal with the Questing Druid and also the creature land that's in play. You would just take way too much damage.
You've got to feel like this is a huge turn for Liu Yuchen.
Yeah, absolutely.
He just didn't have the explosive turn he wanted last time. Is he able to top deck something that can put him in that position?
There's always Sunspine Links, right? That always just is guaranteed to get in for a lot of damage.
Squeezing.
Oh, I think that was a Paw Patch formation.
That would be fine. Something to dump some mana into. Because he's got too many lands for this deck already. He's at 6 now.
Right.
And he needs to draw action quickly because James Dimitrov will bury him.
Yeah, the question here
over
is
time.
The question here is, do I activate the land? If he activates the land, the issue is he no longer has access to the Paw Patch formation, will be 1 mana short. And then there's, of course, the fear of James just slamming Zur and gaining a bunch of life with the Overlord of the Hauntwoods.
Thanks.
Okay.
He's not going to go for the Restless Ridgeline. He's just going to attack.
Okay.
Dimitrov.
You're going to go for the Get Lost here. Probably just saving the life total.
Sure. And making sure to use up the mana.
Yeah, and
makes sense.
Liu's just kind of out of action here, right? You have a couple of map tokens, you have the creature land, but no creature here to play.
He just has to pass the turn back. James Dimitrov takes no damage for the last couple of turns. This is a big reprieve to give this deck.
But no big play here, it doesn't look like. I see a pest control, I think. And another get lost. Cycle actually looking for action. But that extra get loss also just means you have an extra layer of protection here. So Liu Yuchen's going to need to rattle off several good things here in a row to be able to pressure James. Just back-to-back links. What does the links do right now? 6 damage, I think. There's a 1 basic I see in play.
Yeah, it's 6 damage. There's a swamp. But he didn't find one here.
And then I wonder if Liu's considering whether or not he should just be using the formation on the Overlord here. Okay,
Burst
first
lightning.
lightning to the face.
Okay, done.
All right.
Okay, I go down to 10. What does he find off the top of the library, though?
Just gotta spend your mana here.
A Lynx?
It's a
Amberheart Challenger?
That's an Emberheart Challenger, and there's a Rock Face Village in play. So James doesn't actually have a window to prevent Liu from revealing a card off the top of his deck.
that's
So
huge.
that is a great draw on this board.
That actually might have been one of the better draws.
Chest.
Map token will do the same, right?
Sure, yeah. Don't know that he wants that. Although it is a card that you can give haste next turn, right? If you just play something like that. But you might also just be wanting to dig for Lynxes.
James deciding if he wants to respond. Wow, yeah,
Oh.
leyline binding too.
Probably cycled into it, I think.
Sure.
So he'll take out the challenger so that no more
Huh. Also
targeting can happen.
does have a paw patch formation. You could use that to kill the leyline binding. Get back the challenger if you wanted.
And still map it.
And
Or
I think
guess
it
you- yeah,
resets,
the
right?
claw.
If you get it back, so you get another trigger, I believe.
But you want to probably play that higher claw, right?
Oh, okay, excuse me. That was a card. Sure. You give it haste and just go, you know what, James? If you got Zur, you got Zur. But I need to put some pressure on here.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, right now, Liu Yuchen doesn't have anything to combat the Zur problem anyway. There's a map token there.
No.
Hasn't played a land yet for turn.
And there's Get Lost.
Okay, so just all the map
Man,
tokens.
they are just fighting a one-for-one battle
Yeah.
here. And you have to feel that that benefits Dimitrov, as
Right.
he has the ability to really get a bunch of cards going. I mean, a Zur would just be devastating.
Right now Liu going, should I just kill the leyline binding and attack you for 2, or am I saving this for Overlord of the Hauntwoods?
Right. What a tough decision.
James
Because you
is
know
down
if
to
you
1
start
card.
cracking in for 2, that's fine. But this game could completely fall apart with a removal spell or a Zur.
Right? But 2 damage, really big here. You get James down to 8. You have a creature land in play as well. If you top deck a Sunspine Lynx, right? Getting your opponent down to something like 6 life is going to be enough. I think he's going to go for the leyline binding here.
He is.
All right.
Take the more assertive route.
Boom.
And attack for 2. Down to 8. This is huge for Dimitrov. These next 2 turns, he has to find an answer for multiple threats or a Zur.
Zur would be incredible.
Mistmoors. So many good
So
cards
many
he
good
could
draws.
find.
Absolutely.
Bathe
Oh,
the-
there it
There's
is.
Mistmoors, and it's full price.
Full price, 2 tokens here. Overlord down to 1 of the Hauntwoods as well. How are you going to attack through
Now you can't.
Overlord of the Mistmoors here?
Now we're talking about links, right?
We're looking at the burn
3,
plant
4,
here.
5, 6,
7.
7. Even with that
7.
land.
Jeez.
Oh,
Remember, we do get some triggers here. We do get to look at an extra card here with the Challenger,
Right.
with the map.
And it's a land.
Okay,
Oh, that's actually the trigger.
that's the trigger. And then now,
Oh, that is the links on top. We'll keep that one.
yeah, I think he wants that one.
But how do you get the other point of damage?
Well, he's not dead yet.
No. I mean,
The thing is, James now knows, so he can't really.
he's not going to.
He's not going to play another land.
Right.
He's not going to play another land, but who knows how many more burn spells Liu has in the deck. He's going to take a ton of damage here, by the way, when he does play his own Sunspine Links, because it goes back. It goes both directions.
Like, he may have to chump.
I don't think he has a great attack here,
He'll
right?
take 7.
4 in the air at least.
And then he's going to
You can block.
crunched on. He can block. Right.
You can block, at least take 4, and then, yeah, how many lands does Liu have that damage him?
7, I think.
Oh my goodness. So 7 just on both sides? Go down to 12?
It might be 6.
The Spirit Tokens deals 4 damage? Oh man. And you get 2 more Spirits. So this could just be lethal just from the Spirits alone.
I'll go.
And James will have plenty of blockers here.
Plenty of
That's not
blockers.
something that he's concerned.
Oh, and he found Zur off the top of the
Zur!
library there. That is the nightmare for Liu Yuchen.
That's got to do it here.
Yeah, for sure.
What a draw.
Incredible rip for James Dimitrov. He
man.
slams Zur on the table, wakes up his other Overlord, and he's going to attack, it looks like, with just the Overlords.
That is 13 life that you're gaining here. Wow, Overlord of the Mistmores into Zur. Eternal Schemer here
And top card of the library is a Lynx,
is the Lynx.
which would be, I'm assuming, lethal for Liu Yuchen in the wrong way.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
He gets 2 more flyers. There has got to be no way out here for Liu Yuchen at this point.
This is kind of it almost feels like a good control deck with a combo finish.
Yep.
This is the combo. These Gruul decks or mono red decks just don't really have a chance here if they have no way to kind of prevent the life gain.
And Liu Yuchen may just be drawing dead with that Lynx on top.
It probably just kills him.
Right? Can't even cast it level.
Liu just running the numbers here. Does have the creature land here, so you can maybe do a double block. No, but that wouldn't be great. The enchantment creatures also have Death Touch. Oh, and that's it!
And that is going to do it. James Dimitrov advances to the finals. Wow, gets by a tough opponent there, Liu Yuchen. You see him extend the hand, and a big hand clap there for James.
Yeah.
Oh, feels good.
Yeah, huge draws. What better way, right? You are playing against an extremely tough opponent. It is game 5. You have been clawing your way, trying to come back. Liu also making an incredible comeback himself with that Lynx on top, but just 2 timely top decks in a row here. And James now in the finals. And you know what that means? Might have a long finals here.
We might, yeah.
Because the other semis is another domain mirror, so we're going to have 2 more domain mirrors. Just breathe.
I blame Monty. He wanted this.
Go get a quick snack, maybe a meal before the next set of matches is all I'm going to say.
It's a really cool matchup, but you get to see raw power on display in that type of matchup where it's just heavy hitter. This was 2 very different approaches going at it.
Yeah. These games were definitely. It's way more dynamic, way more interesting. When you come to kind of the mirror matchup, which of course is going to get previewed by Corey and Ailey in the next round, they can go really long. They get extremely grindy. Lots of beanstalks, lots of Zers. So just going to need a nice mental reset before we get into the next one.
All right, well, let's get a word from James Dimitrov. He's with Riley right now.
I mean, with James Dimitrov fresh off a win in the semi-finals. James, congratulations. My goodness me, what a game 5. That was a wild show you put on for us.
Yeah, that one was wild. Definitely needed a lot of luck. So, yeah, crazy match. Crazy game.
You must be feeling pretty good about finding your way into a Pro Tour final at your first ever Pro Tour. We'll remind our viewers, of course. Now, we know that you're playing against domain, right? Doesn't matter who wins the other semi, you're playing against a domain deck. So what are your thoughts on the mirror match?
Well, I did go 3-0 in the mirror against Swiss, but both these guys here list very ready for the mirror, so feeling good, but definitely be a challenge.
And you seem to be pretty cool, calm, and collected about it all. Is this a situation where you've processed stuff and you're feeling pretty good about it, or is it not quite sunk in just yet?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Well, mate, you seem to be in fighting form here. You seem to be in tip-top shape. So congratulations on making it this far, and the very best of luck to you, mate, in the final.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
One semifinal in the books. James Dimitrov advances. We've got a whole nother semifinal to bring you, though. We're going to be prepping for that at the news desk when we come back right after this.